Hey everyone, Lynn Hero here, one half of the ST Sisters duo. Today we're going to be doing a demonstration on the cold atmospheric plasma device, Dr. Platon. We are happy to have this new device from Korea. We've been working with it for several months, and I'm going to share a little bit on how the device works, who we use it for, and little tips and tricks as I go ahead and actually do a demonstration for you today. So basically, cold atmospheric plasma differs from what we know as hot plasma or fibroblast plasma that utilizes heat to create trauma in the skin to stimulate collagen production, but there is downtime and there's risks, say creating the little burn marks on the skin that can cause hypopigmentation, for example, and not suitable for all skin types, skin conditions, and Fitzpatrick levels. So with cold plasma, we have no downtime. It's suitable for all Fitzpatrick levels, all skin conditions as well. So a really awesome modality to have in the treatment room. So we have the cold plasma here. The Dr. Platon has 5 levels. Typically for your clients, you're going to be working with level 4 or 5 for maximum benefit. However, if a client has more sensitive skin, you can definitely start at a lower level. For those of you who are familiar with the Tonisher device that has cold plasma, it's about 20 to 25% total of the production or the output that the Dr. Platon is going to give you. So this is definitely going to be a more kicked up device modality to work with. Okay, so we have 3 different head sizes. We have a small tip that's going to be used around the eye area, underneath the nose, the upper lip area, around the nose. So this is just to help get into those areas that need a little bit more attention, and it'll be a little more cumbersome with the larger tips. We then have a tip that's going to be used or head for the face area. I use this on the neck and the face. And then we have a larger one that's about 2.5 times size larger, 2.5 times larger than the small mid-sized one. And this would be used for the body. So this could be used for the neck, the back, arms, legs, any other part of the body that you're going to be working on, just to cover a little more area. Okay, so for purposes of our demonstration today, we're going to be working on our model's full face and neck. And again, this particular treatment, because the cold plasma is great at several different things, I love to incorporate it into most of my advanced facial treatments. So you can do that, and you can also do it as a standalone treatment. So first and foremost, cold plasma helps to increase product penetration by 24% over the next 12 hours, making it ideal for any facial. In particular, we love to use it with the needle-free filler facial because it's all about penetrating the polylactic acid to stimulate collagen. So if you could get an extra increase in the amount of product penetration, that's going to produce much greater results. Same thing with like our V-line facial or any other treatments that we'll be doing. Secondly, it's great for skin tightening. So I love to use this on all my clients when have skin laxity, especially my glycated skin clients. It's something that we've discovered in the last few months that cold plasma is super effective at helping to restore and improve on a severely damaged dermal matrix. And then also works great with breaking up hyperpigmentation and melasma, great for acne, great for fungal issues. And yeah, so just an overall phenomenal treatment to use. We have in our private Facebook group, we have lots of scientific articles that we reference that can be helpful even with people dealing with hair loss. There's some science research being done on people with vitiligo conditions. So again, just a really awesome modality to have. So we're going to start off. Here is what our base of our device looks like. And I have turned it on. So I'm going to turn this off and on so you can see again. So when it's off, there's no blue light here. When it's on, a blue light appears. And everything else is plugged in. We do have a wonderful video that shows how to set up the device. So I'm not going to go through that right now, but you can refer back to that later. So to turn on the actual wand, there is a little button here. That's our start button that looks very typical to a lot of different on-off buttons that you may see. And then you have the ability to go up to five levels. And for purposes of most of my facial treatments, I am working at level 5. So I'm going to be pressing the up or the plus button 5 times, and that takes me to level 5. To actually start and engage the plasma, we are going to press this little arrow here. And then you will see a little thing that looks like a little lightning bolt, similar to what a camera looks like for flash. So that's how we know that it's active and ready to go. So we're going to always cleanse the skin first. We're always using cold plasma on dry, clean skin, and that means skin without product and it's not damp. So I like to start at the neck area and work my way up. The device does turn itself off after 10 minutes. You will see a countdown here. When I'm working and incorporating cold plasma into a facial, I typically do a full face of 10 minutes, 5 minutes one side of the face, 5 minutes the other side of the face. If I'm going to be doing a standalone treatment, I'm looking at about 20 minutes to 22 minutes, depending on if I stop and switch over to the smaller tip to work around the eye area. Typically, standalone treatments are going to be when I'm focusing on a specific condition, whether it's skin tightening, laxity from glycated skin, melasma, hyperpigmentation, acne, things like that. That's where you would probably need a series, anywhere from 6 to 8 treatments. So we are going to be performing a facial a little bit later today, the needle-free filler facial. So I'm going to be doing 5 minutes on each side of the face. One thing you will notice is you will see a tightening and a little bit less crepiness to the skin and some improvement even after one session. However, again, for maximum benefits with most clients, multiple sessions will be needed, and they can be done once or twice a week. Always take your before and after photos with the client sitting up, especially if you want to show improvement in skin tightening. And we do that in a good light. You want to make sure that you're consistent in your lighting for before and after pictures, and also looking, in the same view in terms of front on. So you don't want the face turned one way and then a next way, for your after photos. So be consistent in your photos. So here we go. We're going to start. I love to start again with the lower neck area. I'm going to work my way up. When I'm wanting to do 5 minutes for each side of the face, a typical rule of thumb for me, just so I don't have to keep watching the device and the timer, is I do 10 passes on one area and I move up about 1/2 inch. And by counting off those 10 passes, working my way to the forehead and then working back down a little spot treatments, I can do that in about 5 minutes for one side of the face. Okay, so I'm going to push start one more time just to make sure we're back at the 10 minutes. Okay, we're starting. And again, we're going to be working on clean, dry skin. I'm always holding the skin a little bit taut. If somebody's younger and they do not have very lax skin, that's not going to be as big of an issue. But if someone has a little bit more lax skin, holding the skin taut so you don't get any drag is going to be important. So you are also holding this and just gliding gently over the surface of the skin. So it is making a little bit of contact. People do ask and say, hey, other manufacturers of devices say that it needs to be 1 millimeter above the skin. If that was the case with this and you weren't touching it all, you wouldn't even hear a sound. You wouldn't hear the sparking or feel the sparking, and you wouldn't smell the actual plasma. So you definitely need to activate it by touching the skin. What I will say is there is a rim along the outside, and then the ceramic plate is recessed about 1 millimeter down below. So technically the part that's actually making direct contact with the skin is this outer rim. Okay, so we're going to be doing 10 passes. I like to go one direction. Now, if somebody does not have very lax skin, you could end up doing this back and forth. But typically I'm working with clients with a lot more laxity in the skin. So the first few treatments, it's very difficult to do that back and forth without getting too much drag. So I typically go in the upward fashion because that's always how I want to encourage the skin. I want to encourage an upward lifting. As you can hear, there is a pretty loud sound. That's at level 5. Level 1 is going to have a very light buzz. Level 2 will increase, and so on until you get to level 5. In terms of the feel for the client, they will feel a slight tingling, maybe a little bit of a sparking kind of sensation similar to a high frequency, but it is not painful. It shouldn't be painful. If a client has very sensitive skin or feels like they don't want to really have that sensation at all, simply back off and lower down to maybe a level 3, and then just work up as the client becomes more comfortable and familiar with the device and the treatment. As we near the client's nose, they will start to smell a little bit of the gas, which smells a little bit like high frequency. All gases have a little bit of a different scent, but they will be similar. So you can let your client know nothing's burning, no trauma's happening to the skin, but there will be a noticeable odor. It's usually very relaxing to the client. So these will work on these nice little lines here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a little bit of neck lines. Any sun damage, that's going to help to break that up as well. So with cold plasma, one of the things that comes up a lot is the question asking the difference between cold plasma and high frequency. So high frequency is basically using electrical current, running it through an electrode, a glass tube filled with either neon or argon gas. And then it's then creating this sparking effect at a high frequency, touching the surface of the skin. So the higher the frequency, the lower the wavelength, which means that it's going to stay more topical and not go as deep into the skin. Cold plasma here with our flat head has a lower frequency, lower current, and it's creating, it's going deeper in terms of the wavelength, into the skin. And so that will cause more of an effect in the deeper layers down into the dermis, and why it can help to stimulate collagen production and help to break up hyperpigmentation like melasma. When I get to the chin area, instead of doing a full long drag, you can do that. But if you want to just do your 10 passes up here in the chin area, you can definitely do that. So as long as you're consistent and you know what areas you covered and you did not cover, that's okay. You can just kind of find your own pattern, your own way, and go with that. I like to focus a lot on the chin area and the nasolabial folds in the upper lip, because typically that's where a lot of clients are dealing with a lot heavier wrinkling. And when I'm going to be doing a treatment like the needle-free filler facial, it's going to be all about trying to really penetrate the polylactic acid into those folds and to create the collagen and the plumping out of those wrinkles. So I do tend to focus a little extra here. You can go over the lip area if you needed to. Usually that's only if it would be indicated, like somebody had some hyperpigmentation issues, or any kind of fungal issues. Sometimes there's different skin issues that people are trying to work on and help assist their clients with. So you can, but then I would definitely go down to a lower level, because again, the lips, the eye area, that's going to be a little bit more sensitive for the clients. So as you can see here, there's a little bit of more wrinkling right here in this little area. So you can take, if you're holding taut and you don't have a lot of laxity of the skin, you can do a little bit of a swirling motion on the skin and that little area there. And then I'll just continue to resume my pattern with the 10 strokes and just going in an upward motion. I also want to get behind the ear. So I hold taut and I work up that way. Always encouraging the upper, this lifting effect. If you want to take some pictures with the client laying down just to show improvement in laxity on the side view, that can be really helpful. So you get some good lighting, overhead lighting with your mag lamp, and then take a good frontal view and then a good view on each side with good lighting. And you should even see a tightening even after one treatment. I love to do a series 1 to 2 times a week with the same client, and then to kind of put some side-by-side pictures together. Once you show the client the results they're getting just even after one treatment, they're going to be on board with coming in for future treatments. So if I was going to be doing any other modalities, like the Timester Pro with ultrasound or microcurrent LED, I pretty much always start with this treatment because this is the one modality that for sure is never done with any other product underneath. So I start with this one because if I'm going to, again, be using any product for any other modality, I want to make sure that I'm maximizing product penetration. So for purposes of this video, I was initially going to do 5 minutes, but I'm going to continue and do a full 10 minutes on this side of the face. And then we will be putting up our before and afters as well, so you can see the nice lift and tightening. I also love how this really works on crepiness around the eye area as well. So you typically you're going to pull down the skin that's around the orbital bone here, and then you're going to work, and you can work right up to just right below the lash line. And again, if this is too sensitizing for the client, you can lower it to level 4 or 3 if necessary, And you can also switch to the little round head. Now, if she was dealing with a lot of hyperpigmentation around the eye, I would definitely be switching to the smaller tip so that I could really get in and do small little strokes and really zap all that pigmentation. Okay, and then for the brow area, this also can help with brow growth as well. It's got a lot of research supporting cold plasma helping with hair loss. So I'm going to work right over the brows, and I'm working down on that whole top part of the brow here under the brow line. And it's going to also help with some tightening, some lifting. And again, if there's any crepey skin there as well, this is going to help improve that. Now working on those 11 lines. You can also do a little bit of that swirly with the 11 lines here. I like to really zap that. And again, especially before I'm doing a treatment like the needle-free filler facial or the V-line firming facial, really working down those wrinkled, damaged areas. So when I'm working up here on the forehead, I'm going to be doing horizontal lines first, and then I will proceed to do some vertical lines to do a little bit of lifting as well. Now you could go slower and then maybe do 5 passes. I tend to go a little bit faster. It feels a little more comfortable for the client, and then just do more passes. So as long as you're covering the area for about the same amount of time, you're going to see results. Okay, so I'm going to just show you guys how to take this off and then put on the small tip just to do a little treatment around the eye area. So it pops off. The little, there's a little screw in here with a little spring. So you'll notice that it has a little spring action. So you're going to thread the tip in. So you have to push it a little bit and then just make sure it's going to kind of be a little bit springy. And then we've got our little small tip attached. We are going to start it the same way. Now, because I'm working around her eyes, I am going to go down to a level 4, and then I'm going to start it the same way. And I will do little sections at a time. And when you do start this, you'll notice that you'll hear a lighter buzz. So I start in the corner, and then now I'm working with the middle section. And then I'm going to the end. And then I'm just doing one long stroke underneath the eye, closer to the lash line. And then the same thing with the top. I can go further down. So right above where the top of her eyelid starts. So I'm going to work right on there. And again, this is going to help with any crepiness, helps with tightening that skin, and then also any hyperpigmentation that somebody would have here. And again, level 4 seems to be really good. If they are super sensitive, you can definitely bring it down to a level 3. And usually after, if you were working in a series, once somebody gets used to the sensation, you definitely can go a little bit higher as well. Okay, and then last but not least, just to show you can work in the nose area here. Again, with this little head, you have a little bit more flexibility getting into little areas. You can do a little bit more treatment on the upper lip. So lots of options there. So once you've completed one side of the face, you will do a complete repeat on the second side of the face. I happen to be right-handed. If you find it's cumbersome to pull and go over this direction, sometimes what I do, and I'm just going to show you, is I will literally stand up and I will turn the device on and I will work this way, where I'm working standing up and working on this side of the face. It's just easier for me to work this way. So again, find what works for you, what is most comfortable. Usually if you're doing 5 minutes and 5 minutes, it's not that bad. But if you're doing a good full 10 minutes on each side of the face, you just want to make sure that your arms and body is comfortable in terms of performing the treatment for yourself. Okay, once you've finished your treatment with your Dr. Platon, a simple tip for cleaning and sanitizing your tips. What's really important to know about the Dr. Platon is that the tips are ceramic. They are reusable, so they're not single use. They will last for a minimum of a year, depending on how long you're using the different tips on a regular basis. And you're going to be sanitizing them with alcohol wipes. So I just get the 70% alcohol wipes, and they clean really, really easily. So if you use any other kind of disinfectant, it's really hard to get off the little dead cells. There's little dead skin cells, sometimes a little excess makeup that'll be on here, but it should polish to be perfectly white again. So that is really important. And then you also want to make sure that you have a little pouch to store your tips in. So I have a little velvet pouch that I have. And so once my tips are cleaned, they're sanitized, I put them back in here for storage and safekeeping. And then make sure I just take off all heads too, because I just want to make sure that they don't fall. The other thing I do want to mention is another really great reason why we love this device in particular is that there is no stopping. So because this is a true cold plasma device, I do not have to stop after 5 minutes or so to pause to let the device cool down. I can use this back to back on clients, or if I was doing more full body treatments, I could do even an hour-long treatment if I want with a larger head. So that's a really other great advantage of the Dr. Platon cold plasma device. Another tip is when you're in the process of swapping out heads, you want to make sure that you turn off the wand before you swap out and change a head. You can keep the device itself on, the unit can stay on, but you definitely want to turn off the wand before you're changing heads. So for more information, please feel free to reach out to Rachel and myself at the ST Sisters on Instagram or on Facebook. Again, we have lots more information in our private Facebook group for those of you working with us, and simply use our ST Sisters code at checkout. And we look forward to bringing you some more wonderful classes and demos